Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Market cap at 342. Bitcoin in the same bracket. And we're going to continue to see this. Now, I've been doing a lot of thinking, wondering, listening, and really what's making a lot of sense now. We're hitting the biggest trade wars we've ever had. It's starting to get vicious. If you've been following what's going on, U.S., anytime U.S. is in a trade war, it's going to affect the entire world. And we're starting to see it ramp up. It's almost like a game of chicken. And what's going to happen is, sanctions are being placed. It's getting to be very, very expensive to move money around the world in public, in the eyes of the government. However, I'm seeing and hearing there's a lot of nation states out there that are accumulating Bitcoin, and that is my belief. I believe that the money that's being floated around, it can be independent rogue whales that have billions upon billions, but to be able to control the market, like really strong arm this market, it just feels to me that there's a lot of rogue nations, a lot of nation states out there that are just accumulating Bitcoin. It's people who say Bitcoin doesn't have a use case. When you're talking about daily payments and all this, but a digital store of value, meaning these people don't really mind paying a fee, right? As long as it works. And you're starting to see the trust. You have already heard of North Korea hacking South Korea, going after Bitcoin. You already hear of places like Iran, Russia. You already know what China's doing. If you don't think China's stacking Bitcoin on the low, then, it's pretty naive in my opinion. A lot, and you're already hearing it. You're already hearing that a lot of them are bypassing sanctions using crypto. You can say, well, why don't they use Monero, anonymous cryptos? And I'm sure they are. But, at this point, if you're a nation state, you need the most liquid coin. You need something that can actually handle the liquidity. That's just another conspiracy theory to throw out there. Just looking at a quick take at the market. So much for the big Ethereum dump. A lot of people are thinking that EOS is just going to dump a lot of Ethereum on the market. I believe that EOS has a lot of confidence, and sure, you can dump it on the market, but I believe they're going to try to get the most money from their ether, right? I don't think they see a flash crash in ether is the best way to give EOS a leg up, because that's only temporary. I think you're going to want to milk it for as much money as possible. And what's happening with EOS, the launch is delayed. It's not delayed. It's just they have a go or a no-go vote every day. And it's been no-go. Last one was no-go. There's high expectations that it would be a go. You got Dan L pretty much saying, hey, launch it. Doesn't matter if it's messy or not. Block producers think differently. That's, Dan's had this issue with a lot of his projects. He creates them, lets them go, and then, not everyone's going to agree with him, obviously. And there's nothing, that's why this is decentralized, because you're starting to see the community having to come up and come to an agreement. And it's not necessarily easy. And a lot of BPs. I'm not going to touch too much on it because there's a lot. I still have to do a lot of research on it today about the full no-go of what last night, because I was in the Telegram last night for EOS and just looking at what was going on. EOS New York is usually a pretty good Telegram to get into for the no. And just some BPs. Some people are saying some BPs from China were saying no-go. There were some other prominent ones saying no-go. So I'm going to dig into that today. But I wouldn't say I wasn't a little bit, I'm not nervous or anything. It's nothing like that. But I wouldn't say, hey, my focus is on EOS, that's for sure. I got a large fucking stake in EOS. And I'm not saying that it's exactly easy seeing this done, but it's kind of like a birth. It's messy. Got to clean it up, make it all shiny. The umbilical cord's been cut. It's no longer connected to Dan anymore. So, it's up to the doctors in the room to make sure that the baby's healthy, clean, and ready to be slapped on the butt. All right, moving on. I was really going to start talking about, because one of the problems I see right now is a lot of people who are dissing on ICOs. A lot of people are dissing on ICOs. And I understand that there's a lot of ICOs that are no good. that are not, not going to do anything. And people don't really see the vision in utility tokens. So I'm going to touch on a personal story, on a story that I've been through. So this gives me a better perspective to speak on a topic, because when you've actually been through it, you've seen it, right? Because I believe ICOs, they're the new form of business. It's the way business is going to be moved forward is going to be through utility tokens. And I know the security token guys, they want to puke at that. And they say, security tokens are going to have the biggest market cap. They're going to be, the most regulated, so all the money's going to come in. And it's like, well, obviously securities are going to have a bigger market cap than utility, because you can go, tokenize a $400 million building that already existed, and then boom, you have $400 million market cap instantly. You can't, utility tokens is all from the ground up. It's all new money coming in. Securities is just going to tokenize a bunch of old money and convert it into a market cap. So it's not really fair to compare it that way. I'm anxious to see new securities that come out, new businesses that come out. Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight. I believe people are dismissing ICOs. I mean, keep in mind, Ethereum was an ICO. EOS, Neo, all of these coins, the gains were insane. If you got into the Ethereum ICO, you fucking crushed it. If you got into the Neo ICO, you absolutely crushed it. And you didn't have to be an accredited investor to make those type of gains. And that's the reason people have gotten a taste of it. It's not going away. You can say ICOs are illegal in the United States. Well, people are just going to move to Malta. People are just going to move to South Korea. People are just going to move to Japan. It's worldwide. That's why you can't put the cat back in the bag. You can't just say, okay, well, we're going to switch to a security model, an IPO model, where the best stages, yeah, you can invest in stocks if you're a normal person, but you're buying the accredited investors' bags. You're not going to be able to get on those early rounds. You're just not. You're not going to be able to chip in your $1,000 and pull it together and actually get a piece of it. No, you have to be an accredited investor. That shuts off 99% of the people. It's not going back that way. It's like saying, go to California and say, hey, medical weed is illegal now. They're going to be like, fuck you, because they've tried it. They've seen that it helps them, and it's not going to go away. The same thing. People have made money. People have seen the light with ICOs. Good luck. It's called VPN. Good luck trying to keep people out of the ICO market. There's no way. And another reason, and people want to shit all over ICOs. Telegram's raised billions. EOS raised billions. These companies were raising lots and lots of money. It was working, and the demand is there. The chop off. The only reason the ICO scene slowed down a little bit is because everybody shat on it. Everybody shat on it. Regulators, everybody called ICOs 100% scams, and they shat on everything. Right? So if you're calling all ICOs scams, I guess you're calling Ethereum a scam, you're calling EOS a scam, you're calling Neo a scam, you're calling, VeChain a scam, you're calling a lot of things scams. And it's very ignorant, in my opinion, to start wildly throwing around accusations, because that's when you become a meme 10 years later. Speaking in facts, ICOs are new. This is new. Nobody, how is anyone going to say ICOs are going to fail when it's a new way of raising capital? You can't have a security that's a decentralized blockchain. You can't. So you can't make, Ethereum a security without it being a blockchain, without it being centralized, because then people have to pay dividends. It doesn't work. It's apples and oranges. You can't do it. These are beasts that don't fit inside your shackles. When you try to, and the world's becoming more and more decentralized. One of the things is, people think securities are the future. I believe they're going to be a part of the future. I think utility tokens, decentralized way of doing things are the future, though. The best way of doing business. Because you can even think, what happened with OPS skins? They're a centralized business, but they knew that decentralization was the best way to cut fees, gain even more trust, decrease places where you could be hacked, central points of failure, bottlenecks, right? Because if you're storing any kind of data, any kind of information, you can't be hacked, especially if you're a digital marketplace, right? If you could steal thousands of skins, it's no good. They even realized, hey man, decentralization is going to cannibalize our business. So we might as well cannibalize ourselves, decentralize ourselves with Wax token and join this movement. They raised $80 million. There's a lot of people seeing the future. One of the things that I know, how I know this is the future, there's a little coin called No Limit coin. And I found it when it was just a little seedling. It was a little seedling. Not that many people knew about it. I bought up some. And then what did I do, right? I wasn't paid. Never once paid anything to do anything. Anytime I got any money from No Limit coin, I gave it away to people in giveaways or whatever. Never paid to do it. And that's a strong incentive because why? I didn't have to pay. I just had to buy, and then I started to promote it. And then guess what? Before you know it, we created a Slack, and there was a group of core people, and they got some coins, and then they started to promote it. And then before you know it, not only were the players playing on the site, but the players became investors, and they started to promote it. They started to care. It's kind of like being in an amusement park, and you actually own a little piece of that amusement park, and you see somebody throw a can on the ground. You're like, hey man, pick that up, right? Because you take a responsibility. You want the amusement park to do good. That is the conveyor belt to success. You are never ever going to beat that type of business ever again. It's the Kraken has been unleashed. You can't stop that. It worked wonders with No Limit Coin. It worked that's just my personal example. There's so many examples of that. How people invest in a token, and not only do they become users of that platform, they become promoters. You get millions of promoters. You get thousands of promoters. It depends on how big your crypto and how widespread it is. Everyone who has EOS, right, over that year-long thing, they're now EOS promoters as well. They want to see EOS do good. Same with Bitcoin, Bitcoin maximalists. You don't have to pay a Bitcoin maximalist to do shit, to talk good about Bitcoin. Why? Because he has Bitcoin. He wants it to go up in value. He wants to see it get stronger. That's the incentive system. Fuck getting stock, right? Fuck getting all this. You get a tokenized part of the company. Yeah, it's not a stock, it's not a security, it's not any of this, but it's a piece. It's a piece. If you want to have access to this platform, you have to have this token. If you value the platform, you're going to get that token. If you want to play Fortnite and you want to get a skin, you got to buy V-Bucks. No one's sitting back and saying, well, I'm not going to buy V-Bucks. If they don't accept my fiat straight up, then screw them. No, people buy V-Bucks. It's that simple. That's what's going to happen. That's the future, the incentive. So everyone becomes an army. We've tried it before with Chuck E. Cheese tokens, but guess what? There's no blockchain. Anyone can just print up a bunch of Chuck E. Cheese tokens, and then they'd go out of business. Now that you have it on the blockchain, and they were actually like, hey, if you want a Chuck E. Cheese pizza, you need one of these, these tokens that's on the blockchain. It's 100% secure, yada, yada. Then we can do business. People will be buying up the Chuck E. Cheese tokens if they want the delicious smelling pizza. That's what it comes down to. That's the beauty of tokenization. It brings a community together that will fight to the death for that product, even if they use the platform or not. And that's going to bring down the big dogs, the big corporations that have these large overhead, right? And they have to charge a larger amount just to keep themselves afloat. The people are using fiat. The people on FanDuel could give a fuck less if FanDuel succeeds, because if it fails, they'll just go to the next one, right? Like, who cares if PokerStars does good unless you have stock in it? I guarantee you there's a lot of players that hate it, and there are, because just Google it, right? But if PokerStars actually had a coin, and they actually had listened to the community, and it became decentralized, then everyone would be cheering for PokerStars. It wouldn't be raising rake, it would be lowering rake. That's just one small example. Centralized businesses don't work. They become too top heavy. They come too expensive to operate, because when you have to pay one person, you have to hire a bunch of people to work underneath you. However, if you have a decentralized model, you have everyone not being paid, yet working together and working harder to see that business. If you don't see that as a way of the future business, then I'm not a future teller. That could fail, but that's where my chips are betting. You're betting against utility tokens. You're betting against a decentralized future. I think your chips are in the wrong place. And people keep on muddying it up, saying ICOs or this or that. Man, a lot of people made money off of ant shares. A lot of people made money off of EOS. A lot of money was made off of these ICOs, and these are good projects. You can't call them, you can't say these are scam projects. Ethereum's been here. Ethereum's been out here. But ask Mike Novogratz if ICOs are shit when he invested in Ethereum. I mean, if you're talking about investing, that's all this is. If you're talking about securities, you're talking about money. Money talks. What securities or what IPOs recently have had the returns that Ethereum has had, that Neo has had, that a Ripple has had? How many of these have had anywhere close to that since Facebook, since Amazon 20 years ago? Think about that. I'm just saying ICOs are the radical new future that unlocks to where anyone can invest. You can chip in your $5 and build from there the way it should be. Shouldn't be these barriers. That's why we only 1% are rich. And to say that securities are going to become the future and that anyone can invest in them is horseshit. They're going to be harder to invest in. Accredited investors are going to get into super, super early rounds, and they're going to dump their bags on the normal person at 20x the price when it hits a normal exchange. And everyone knows that's what's going to happen. I mean, because that's the way they make the most money, of course. And going on one point, another reason why you want to have your own token. Why wouldn't all right, so FanDuel made their own token. They said they want to use Dash, and that's their official cryptocurrency. You have to pick one. You can't have a bunch of leagues. I've already talked about this. But guess what? Now what? You have to rely on Dash now, and you have no say on Dash. Who knows if Dash is going to be around 5 years from now? I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it isn't. But if you're FanDuel and you're like, well, guess what? If I create my own, then I'm in control of it, and I know it's going to be around 5 years from now because I know the roadmap. I don't have to trust anybody that I have no control over. And that's a big deal when you're talking about a gateway. That's why I could ramble on about hours and hours about this. I would love to fucking debate somebody about this, but the point is Mike Novogratz recently, it was like hallelujah. He was talking about like the Duber, decentralized Uber, and how he was talking about how utility tokens were going to bring. And it was music to my ears because it was one of the first person that actually thought what I was thinking. I was like, man, does no one really else see this? Am I just some crazy motherfucker? Am I just like insane? Does no one else see it? Well, I don't give a fuck if no one else sees it. I see it, and I don't care. I'm just going to push forward with my vision and how I think it is. And hearing an OG like Novogratz come out and say it, it's like, hallelujah, I didn't need it. But it was nice. It was nice to hear that, I wasn't the only fucking person that saw this obvious sign of how the future way to run a business. I mean, it's just how it is. And yeah, so like I said, I could keep going on and on about this. It's probably way too fucking long of a video as it is now. So I'm going to kill it here. Enjoy your weekends. Cheers. Peace.